I have traveled about 550 days. I have driven about 45,000 kilometers. I have photographed 1,077 cinemas at the moment, across 900 towns, across 18 states. To document an era of entertainment which was very dear to every Indian's heart. You know, the whole concept of going to the cinema, right? And the kind of relationships people had with those structures. There are people who would watch their movies only in one cinema. One of the owners once told me, he said, you know, in a small town, he said, there are three people that you need to know. Police commissioner, a cinema owner, and the district magistrate. He said, if you know these three people, your life is sorted. So this was basically an attempt to try and capture for posterity some of these stories and the fact that a multiplex is the same across the world, you know, there's no difference. But each of these were standalone structures. You might find a theatre challenging another one, but it is in no way identical in terms of architecture, design, etc. So it's a project at multiple levels. It's architecture, it's interiors, seats, projectionists, projectors. I've collected tickets. I've collected nearly 900 tickets from as many cinemas as I could go to. I've been gifted 2 35mm cinema projectors. I have more than 55 projection lenses. I've got the old glass advertising slides that used to go horizontally in the old carbon arc projectors. And so it's just a way of 50 years from now, if someone says there was a beautiful cinema in Venkatagiri, there should be an image and a story behind it. You know? When I decide to go to a certain place, I form a route, okay, which is normally the main cities or the main districts, right? And I go with scope for whimsicality, okay? It's not that I have to finish by 4 o'clock on a certain day and then I check into a hotel, park my jeep, pick up my small camera, come downstairs, find a rickshawala who's in his 60s, and I say, look, I will pay you double of what your meter shows at the end of this ride. I don't want to hear any grumbling or any fussing, okay? I just want you to show me all the old cinema theatres. So that's one thing that I do, because they, of course, get really excited because it's part of their, you know, era, their culture and their growing up. So they take me to all the old cinemas and I've said, look, some places I might stop. So first I form a route. Then I do research through Google Maps to find cinema theatres. I've discovered shortcuts or alternative ways of finding places as well, where I realized at some point that if you misspell certain words, you find 2 more cinemas, okay? Like the word talkies is very popular. And sometimes I discovered to spell T-A-K-I-J, okay? Takij. So sometimes on Google Maps, you've actually typed in Takij and I found 3 more cinemas. There was this very famous incident in a Delhi cinema theatre called Upahar, which burned down and a lot of people died of suffocation. I went there and found a panwala nearby and he said, sir, ek khidki hai, aap kood jao andar. He said, it's very dirty and there are a lot of mosquitoes, but that's up to you. I said, no, that's fine. I mean, these things don't bother me. So I've jumped in through that window illegally. Arrest me, whoever's watching this. And I had my tripod and my camera. Everything as habit, you know, this is what I'm doing. So the camera, and I'm just standing there in the lower stalls where I see burnt seats and, you know, that whole mayhem. I suddenly had this thought in my mind that I'm actually treading on the souls of people who died screaming and, you know, in suffocation. And I felt really bad, and suddenly I hear a sound and see my tripod is tipped over and fallen down, which is something that is not possible. You know, a tripod is by definition something that doesn't fall over. So I said, I'm really sorry to all the departed souls. I said, I'm here for a purpose. Please forgive me. I'm going to spend 1 hour here. Please look after me and look after my camera. So I spent 1 hour, worked as quickly as I could, and I left. But never in my life have I seen a camera on a tripod just tip over. What I find most energizing is when people of my age or older than me, I'm 56, so people older than me, I love their responses, you know, of just sheer nostalgia. It's happened today, you know, I've just put up a picture and this friend of Nirav's suddenly bursts into this whole nostalgia trip because his father used to run a theatre. You know, and then and then he saw all the pictures and just got into this whole memory of his childhood where he would sit in the projection room with a gold spot and a puff and watch the film through the projection window. So it's more for my generation and their nostalgia. So Nirav, who owns Basque with his brothers, is an old friend from my cinematography days. And he suddenly called up a few months ago saying, I've got this new restaurant and the walls are looking really bare and I can only see your images on these walls. So I said, Nirav, I'm a little broke these days. Unless you find a sponsor, there's not much I can do. But if you're willing to wait for 3 months, I have this exhibition coming up in a cafe in Bombay. Once that is done, I'll just bring them here because the prints are mine and they have nowhere to go. That's how this project came here. But because this space is a lot larger than the one in Bombay, I added another 12, 14 pictures. And we're setting up today. I've come primarily for this. I've also come because I'm doing a series on Zoroastrian Parsi cemeteries, and there's one in Chennai. I've been doing a series looking at tombstone art in British cemeteries. So there's a Garrison cemetery here, which I want to go and shoot. And anything else that catches my fancy. I believe in, like I said, whimsicality when it comes to the working ideology. So I can be driving down, suddenly see something I like, I'll just stop and I'll spend some time there.